Good evening again, everyone. Happy to be here with you on this wonderful, and blessed evening, Sunday evening. Um, Welcome to my Lutheran Connections. Today, we are not going to take much of your time because we've taken 5 minutes already. We have today the Association of Liberia Lutherans in the diaspora or in the Americas. The Association of Liberian Lutherans in the Americas, um, and today representing the organization are distinguished leaders. We have Mother Mattie Reese Carpet, um, Brother Joseph Sumo Roberts, and Dr. Murphy V.S. Anderson. Today we are joined and ably assisted by our brother, our ambassador there in Freetown, Civilian, joining us from our studios there in Civilian, and I'm here in Connecticut. Our lead host for today is Brother Josiah Jokai there in Downsbury, Connecticut. Our brother Abel Lewelly will be joining us from Monrovia very shortly. And the only reverend that we have on set, the Reverend V. Zesta Lila Yakpazo, will be joining us from our studios there in Columbus, Ohio. And without further waste of time, we're going to go strictly to Densbury, Connecticut, to our brother Josiah Jokai, who's going to be leading the show today. Brother Jokai, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. And how's Georgia? How are you today? How's the weather? Are you what, 96?
We yeah, we somewhere past that. So you know we always up there.
Great, great. It's a great honor to be in the company of these great people whom I've interacted with and I respect so much for their support and contribution to the work of the Lutheran Church. Sis Maria is no stranger, a familiar personality, and I really enjoy working with her, even though not profoundly, but for the few times we've met, it's been a rewarding moment for me. Maria would like to say welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Joe, we met in Philadelphia at one of the conventions, Joe, and we were able to have some impressive conversations. I know since then we haven't had the opportunity to really chat or interact more. But it's really great seeing you here today, honoring our invitation. It's an honor for us at the Lutheran discussion. We want to say welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
Great. Dr. Anderson, it's always good talking to you. I'm elated to see you here today as one of the guests. It's not a surprise. We're talking ALLIA. So definitely you have to be in the picture, just as our other two guests. It's really an honor to have you here today as a guest. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. We have Ambassador there in Freetown. He is referred to as our ambassador because he works for the Mano River Union. There in it's a sub-regional organization, very firm. It has grown over the years and has contributed to economic cooperation, economic integration in the sub-region. There are 4 countries: Liberia, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, and Sierra Leone, where Jerry sits. And I had the opportunity to interact with the MRU a lot on elections and democracy enhancement. I know under the auspices of the MRU, I was able to provide some technical support to the Electoral Commission in Sierra Leone, in Guinea, and in the Cote d'Ivoire. So I'm always proud to see Jerry, besides him being my colleague here as a host. He's already contributing significantly to sustaining democracy in our sub-region. Jerry, it's my pleasure to welcome you once more. And Willie is there. He's the technical person. Willie has all the magic that he performs to get us on the show. Shining here, you see us, it's not by ourselves. Willie is in the background making us to shine. You know, he has all the technical expertise. So Willie, we want to say thank you for the support you continue to provide. I'm not too sure Abel is going to join us today. Abel is bereaved. He might join us because This show is very dear to his heart, as Willie said, but he is bereaved. And Abel, we want to say our hearts out to you. Take courage. Our deepest condolences for your loss. Reverend Sister Yakpazua usually doesn't join us on time because it's Sunday, and it's understandable because he's a pastor. He has distances to cover, sometimes filling in. So we hope he will join us sometimes during the course of the show. But folks, I know you are tuning in by now. It's time in Central America, in North America, in Canada, in Lusaka, Zambia, where we have our committed audience. Also, the program is being relayed there in Lusaka. So, Dr. Anderson, Sis Marie, and Joe, I just want to let you know that you are also being heard. We're there in Lusaka, Zambia. Our Lutheran brothers and sisters are doing well. Somewhere in Australia, we also have another group that are committed to helping to relay this. So we are all over the world. And then in Liberia also. You are welcome. Today, the discussion promises to be exciting. We're going to be talking about a project that is dear to our heart, all of us as Lutherans. So we don't sit here today just as hosts, but we have a explicit interest in the establishment of a tertiary institution in the name of our church, the Lutheran Church in Liberia, which is the Lutheran University of Liberia. We all have serious interest, and that's what these great people are here to explain to us exactly what is ALLIA's support in this endeavor. Is a joint venture, ALLIA and the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Our understanding is that there is a memorandum of understanding in place. We want to know the specificity of that memorandum when it comes to ALLIA's role in contributing to. We want them to lay it out. This is not a peripheral kind of conversation we want to have. What is ALLIA doing? How much ALLIA is going to put in terms of dollars and cents? What are the projections that ALLIA has made? And what is the period we're talking about here, the time frame of the support? And what is the support mechanism? What they're going to constitute? Will they be providing money for supporting the steering committee? Is there one in place? Is there a project committee? How is it going to be financed? And how far they have gone with the support? Today, the best people are here to lay this out to you. Our role always is to ask the questions, and our guests provide the answers, and you, the audience, you are the judge. And that has not changed for today's show. It remains the same. Here, we discuss the facts, we speak the truth beyond emotion. And so we want to welcome you to your favorite show, the Premier Lutheran Platform. We will go into the conversation now, and we will ask the first question to. I know there was a disclaimer from Dr. Anderson, but for us, we don't know who is who in terms of who's going to answer what question. So basically, we will ask our questions, and sometimes we'll be specific to say Dr. Anderson, to say Joe, or to say Sis Maria. And if you can answer the question as Dr. Anderson indicated from the outset, just say who can answer the question, and we can have the conversation. So feel free. The first question is going to be about your own involvement. Is there a formal approach in terms of your support to the Lutheran University establishment? Is there a formal support, like a strategy in place, a structural agreement or understanding in place? Do you have anything of that nature?
Yes. Thank you for having us come on your program today. We recently went to Liberia for the consecration of Bishop G. Victor Padmore. We had a top-level delegation comprising of four of us: Pastor Dennis, who's the president, Dr. Anderson, Sister Detta Gayflow, and I. We went to the consecration, and at the after the consecration, we had series of meetings regarding our partnership with the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And so we were able to work out some kinks in the memorandum of understanding so that we can go forward. We appreciated Bishop Patmore's commitment to making sure that this project speeds up because we've been waiting for a long time and it hadn't been coming forth. So we had meetings with them and the technical committee. Um, the technical committee was headed by Reverend Jesse King. However, just Reverend King is about to go to University to work on his doctorate. So we are in the process of transitioning. However, we were able to come up with some next steps that we feel is in the best interest of the project. And so we at this time we are moving forward in our partnership and reviewing our MOU and putting in place some steps that we think will be beneficial to the project.
So that means you have an MOU in place.
Yes, we have an MOU, a signed MOU that was signed with the Lutheran Church in Liberia. However, that MOU was not fully implemented. So we, at this meeting, when we went to Monrovia, we were able to review the MOU and get more commitment from the Lutheran Church in Liberia on our involvement in it.
So when you say review, sorry for the interruption, but when you say review the MOU, that means you revised the MOU? Did you revise it?
We haven't revised it yet. We were operating on it as it is currently. However, we did express some desire to go through the MOU, especially when it comes to financial commitment. The current MOU does not state that we are equal partners in this process. So it would take us some time to review the whether it's a 50-50 commitment or whether it's a 30-70 commitment and at what levels we'll be committing ourselves financially. I'd like to state, however, that this project is the signature project of ALLIA. And so it specifically states our commitment as Liberians in the diaspora to the Lutheran Church in Liberia to ensuring that this vision of a Lutheran university is achieved. And so we doing all we can to make sure that the project gets on the way. So at that meeting, we agreed that we will look at the steps that are outlined by the National Higher Education Commission and the things that are required for licensing a university. So we decided to work on the strategic plan for the university. And that is our next step. So that's where we
Wonderful.
are right now.
Wonderful. So I was being careful in asking the question about a formal document between you in terms of ALLIA and the LCL because I have in my hand here the 2020 MOU.
Okay.
And I wanted to be careful because I thought you had already revised this document. There existed a fresh MOU. Since we are discussing on the basis of this MOU, before I go to Jerry, who will be doing another round of questioning, let me just say that this MOU constitutes a critical part that speaks to your partnership specifically, and it covers an area that says solidarity. It also talks about capacity building. It talks about protection, talks about communication, talks about decision making, talks about conflict resolution, talk about partners contribution. And I thought that these constitute the meat of the MOU. But
Yes.
I do not see, except you can make reference in the document, I do not see specifically places where it says that the agreement will last from this period to this period. And in the agreement, this is what, in terms of projection, is required for the establishment of the university financially in terms of dollar and cents, because there has to be a projection, says that the LCL will make this contribution because in such project cycle document, there has to be estimation in terms of what the partners will contribute, what the LCL will contribute, what LEA will contribute to it, and then over the period. So I just wanted you to lay out that a little bit before I go to my colleague in Freetown, who will do another round of questioning. But can you speak to those specific issues in terms of what role you're going to play specifically? What are those expectations?
Okay, so you're right. All of those issues were covered in the current MOU, and however, some of the terms and conditions in that MOU were not followed in our uh, interaction with LCL. So we had been to Liberia the year before and launched the project at the convention, and we were told that as a partner, we were going to go ahead to do the strategic plan, because you can't just say you want a university. You have to know you have to have a blueprint. You have to have ways of financial sustainability. You have to look at all of those issues, how much it would take to put into the project. So all of those things have to be covered before you even start to have a university project. Those things were not done. We were told it was just at a project stage, but that we were going to work to get a license. However, when we came back to the United States, they went ahead, the LCL decided to start the first college of Phoebe, the college, Phoebe College, Phoebe Curran College of Phoebe Esther Bacon College of Health Sciences. And so they got a license and they started that first college. So we came back and said, well, we didn't. The plan was not just for one college. The plan was for a university system over time, and we were
Very
going to
good.
do it
You struck a
incrementally.
good point. You struck a good point, Sis Maddie. I don't want to lose my thought. And that is part of your commitment. In the document, you said ALLIA and the LCL, have a shared vision, a shared vision. So you
Yes.
thought that the fact that the LCL went ahead to establish a college in the whole arrangement of forming the university was not part of the understanding. That was like a betrayal in the process. Do you see it from that perspective, or you can better word it? You can better word it.
Well, I don't know if it's a betrayal, if I want to use that kind of word, but it was a decision that was made by the LCL to go ahead and start the college. And because they had claimed that at their convention, they had agreed that they would go ahead to do this project, and it was approved by the convention in when they had a previous convention to Banga, when we participated in it. So this project was, they agreed that they were already going that route because they had promised their students at Esther Bacon and at Phoebe that they would work on a 4-year degree granting program rather than a certificate program in nursing. So they felt that at that time, the LCL was in a position to go ahead and start the university project. And so the bishop appointed an ad hoc board headed by Mrs. Marian Zuba. And that ad hoc board, we have 2 members on that ad hoc board, Pastor Allison and I. And so they went ahead and they set it up, and the bishop appointed the ad hoc board that would carry out the activities. However, based on, I'm going back to the MOU. The MOU specifically states that we will collaborate and will communicate, and that we will work together for this shared vision of a university project. So this time, with new leadership in place, we agreed in Monrovia that we were going to go ahead to do the strategic plan, and that strategic plan is the next steps priority, and the new leadership of the LCL have given us support that they will have a workshop that is scheduled for July 27th to 30th, and we have agreed that ALLIA and LCL will will ALLIA will pay most of the money to ensure that this Lutheran this strategic plan is developed.
Pay most of the money for the strategic plan development
Pardon?
process. Pay cover the cost of developing the strategic plan. You've committed
Yes,
to do that.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, you
That
have
this
done
will
a
be a
lot.
joint project, but ALLIA will pay for
You
it.
have done a lot. You brought Bishop here several times in the U.S. You brought people here. Jessica came from Liberia here in the U.S. ALLIA did those, in support of establishing the university, coming out with a working document. You have a beautiful MOU. The commitment reflects a shared vision. But again, college was established without your involvement, but you are on the board. That is water under the bridge. But we appreciate the information thus far. We'd like to go over to Freetown, Sierra Leone, where Jerry is comfortably seated. Jerry? Oh, we just lost Jerry. I think
Yeah, we
Jerry,
just lost our
yes, Jerry is going to be coming back. Willie, do you want to take it from
yeah.
there?
For now, I just have one question. I mean, either uh Mr. Anderson or Brother Robert or even Intermediate could answer the question. Um, so I understand from Intermediate that you went to Liberia and then you had a conversation with the current administration, um, and they made some commitments. But going back to the convention, okay, going back to the convention, um, we had the convention, the task force chairperson in Liberia, Reverend King. When Reverend King had the opportunity to give update on the status of the LUL, he made mention of partners, new partners, talking about, he said there was someone from the ELCA, and he also talked about from the Lutheran Church in Germany, but he failed to mention, just to mention the name ALLIA. He failed to mention ALLIA. So, what is ALLIA's stance in that? And what is the guarantee now that this administration has given? Because if the person who's working on the task force is telling us that they have new partners, and ALLIA is telling us that she has an MOU with the LCL, I think some viewers like myself, we either a little bit confused or there's something that is not really adding up somewhere. So can you just do you care to just comment on that, please?
If I can be given the opportunity to say one or two things concerning that.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for allowing us, like Sis Maria have said, for inviting us to this platform. I also want to concur with what Mr. Rabba have said, that this is a dream come true for Lutherans across the globe, that we are giving such a platform to discuss and interface with each other from different walks of life about what is dear to our heart, the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Let's say Maria have mentioned our interactions, our dealings with the Lutheran Church has been straightforward. ALLIA has made its points straight up and said what we wanted to do, where we wanted to go, and how we're going to go there. I must be very quick to mention that we have had some missed opportunities on both sides, from ALLIA's standpoint and from the LCL. We've had some poor communication. We have some poor working relationships in the past. But as an organization, as ALLIA, wanting to move towards a new platform into the 21st century, and making sure that what we find most important, especially when it comes to how we can build a relationship with the church in Liberia, and how we can extend their needs and their wants across the globe to other places. We cannot fully dwell on what has happened in the past. Instead, we can look at the opportunities that exist and we can utilize them. And so, in our role as leaders of ALLIA, what we think is possible is the fact that we have a transition of leadership. We've changed bishop now. So, at this point in time, with our interaction with the current bishop, we have not identified any room or any reason to doubt what he has said. We are confident that what he has told us in Liberia and what he continues to tell us by our personal and collective engagements is genuine, and we can use that as a reason to beginning to develop a new platform. In other words, the MOU we have some silent parts of the MOU, which we are working on. Like Sis Madia said, there is going to be a retreat in Liberia. ALLIA is going to underwrite most of the cost of that. Why? ALLIA sees a need to doing that because we believe that as much as we can help the church in Liberia, we'll be doing that justice. So we are willing to underwrite the cost. But what we want to focus on as an organization is making sure that what has happened in the past, we can look at it and we can develop on it and not dwell on the ills of the past. Instead, focus on the opportunity that presents itself to us so that we can move forward. And that's what we hope to do with the new bishop and the church in Liberia.
Yeah. If I can just add to what Dr. Murphy and Sis Maddie had just added in reference to the question, Brother Joshua. And
Joe, before you come in, Joe, I'm sorry, before you come in, I don't want us to miss this important point that
absolutely
my colleague raised, Willie raised, because Willie's question is about the structure of the partnership. And I think in short, he was trying to ask as to whether or not, besides ALLIA, the LUL process has additional partners. Willie, am I right on that? As divulged by Reverend King. Willie, was that the point?
Yeah, I absolutely. And if
Right.
ALLIA is aware of it, because ALLIA has
Are there other partners to this?
Are there other partners?
As far as we know,
mm-hmm.
and through our discussions in Liberia recently, we don't know of any other partners. We had as a side comment that from Reverend King, who is no longer going to be the chair of that technical committee because he's going to school. He had indicated that the church in Bavaria had offered to do some physical investment in the lay school. But as far as we know, for this project specifically, this is a project only between ALLIA and Lutheran Church in Liberia.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I thought that it was important to provide that clarification before we proceed. And Dr. Anderson, you made a very good point in terms of the new leadership's commitment. So we will go to Joe, who wanted to buttress that comment. Joe.
Yeah. I mean, thanks again. Welcoming us here to share this and discuss the major issues, something that is dear to our heart towards our country, Liberia, where ALLIA is stationed. We follow back to yesteryears, the University of Liberia, the Lutheran University of Liberia establishment was something that ALLIA started our conversation first. And then we took it over to LCM Monrovia, and that this is something that we think we should do for our country. We have had a series of other educational ISBET, LTAPs, and other institutions. And we felt that at this time, Lutherans, especially the Lutheran Church, being one of the oldest denominations in Liberia and other churches to have university. We felt that it is time that we should also engage in establishing a university. And so we started our conversation with LCL Liberia. Just as Dr. Murphy said, that we had a lot of missed opportunity, communication, and other issues, but we can't dwell on that now. We have to look at the future, and because that's the goal. And we had a meeting with the bishop, the present bishop right now. The meeting was very successful. and we had we built a new covenant with LCA through the new bishop that we do believe that this goal that we want to achieve, we definitely move forward. Years has passed and we have lost a lot of opportunity. I know in Canada when Bishop last visit with ALLIA at that convention, they were during the conversation, we asked that a committee be set up, just as you said, to build a university. It requires a lot of work. You have to have the whole financial structure of it, cost analysis, why, all of those things, and network partners and team shareholders and all of those things into it. And a committee was supposed to be set up based on the bishop statement that, and then they will come up with this entire proposal for the university. But unfortunately, that did not happen. An ad hoc committee was set up, and then that diverted into having a couple of institutions open, as Sis Madia says. So we diverted from the entire structure, the way the structure was going to go. But as you know, we can't dwell on that. We got to look at the future. So once with the new bishop with LCF right now of 2022, 2023 forward, our goal right now is to sit and put the whole structure together, including the one that is not in existence, which we appreciate as part of the institution of the Lutheran University. But a whole structure is to be built, because that's how ALLIA first saw the vision that we have to discuss this, and this is what we want to do. We agree to it, and then we start to work, put the plans into play, come up with the entire plan, and know how much it's going to cost, and then start to look at, should we divide it into projects, which one we want to do first, which one we want to do second. But we had a long back and forth communication that just make us to use a lot of opportunity. So I would just add to the order to tell them that we feel very strongly, we are very confident with the new administration. We are happy that we do believe that this dream that we want to do, we see a lot of opportunity in the future. We are actually ready to work towards the goals.
Great speaker. Joe, that was good. And I think Madia and Dr. Anderson, they feel very pleased with that presentation of yours in support of your vision. The commitment of the new leadership, which is quite important. But Jerry is here. Jerry is going to take it from this point. Ambassador, it's up to you.
Thank you, Joe, and I want to thank the panelists for the responses given. Sorry, I've been going on and off, as you noticed, and I hope that I won't sing a song or raise a song that have been sung already. However, for the sake of clarity, I would just want to ask any one of the panelists to please, firstly, give us an idea. I know you are in the stage of developing or formulating a strategic plan, and that will roll down to an operational plan, go into a budget. Can you give us an idea of, what you are thinking on in terms of support to this identical process, budget-wise?
So budget-wise, we know that there are certain costs in the initial development of a university. So that includes the strategic plan, and that's the strategic plan. You need data to develop that strategic plan. So it was agreed in Monrovia that our next step will be development of the strategic plan, and ALLIA agreed to finance that retreat that is going to be held July 27th to the 30th in Phoebe. And so we agreed that we will send the money to have that. And as a result of that, there will be a reorganization of the technical committee that is currently in Monrovia, especially with Reverend King leaving the technical committee, and a new committee will be restructured. We're hoping that there will be communication and we will be interacting in such a way that we will be on the same page in the development of this strategic plan. So that's the first step, is to finance this, and then the next step is the development of the strategic plan. We have agreed on the terms of reference for the contractors, who will be charged with the responsibility of development of the. So we have agreed on the terms of reference for the contractors. The strategic plan will be developed, and after the strategic plan is developed, the next step is the licensing, and the government of Liberia, they charge $7,500 for that process. And so we are putting in place all of those costs that are involved, and so that ALLIA will be able to make their personal contribution to those projects that are in the pipeline. We know that it takes money to do the strategic plan, but we were able to come up with the terms of reference for a contractor to do the data analysis, so that we can be able to write that strategic plan. And that strategic plan will be our blueprint that we will use to raise funds for the project, and contact foundations and write grants and do all of this stuff based on the strategic plan. So our goal is making sure that we get that strategic plan developed, and then we can go forward with that. ALLIA is committed to ensuring that the strategic plan is developed, is paid for, and that we have it in hand. And so far, the Lutheran Church has agreed that they will appreciate us playing that role of ensuring that they get the strategic plan paid for and developed in Liberia. We have always said that ALLIA is not a donor. ALLIA is a partner in this process. So we at any time, we have always maintained that we are not a donor. We are a partner and with the Lutheran Church in Liberia.
If I may just add to what Sis Mali just said, once that strategic plan is put together as a blueprint that you can just take out, I will make reference to the Lutheran University that is a groundbreaking ceremony that just took place in Nigeria, from the Senate, which I'm part of the Senate, which have the global companion table. Fortunate for me, I was a member of the global companion table, so we do still have communications after my turnover. But just like the dream we're having for Liberia, Nigeria had the same dream of building. There is no Lutheran University in Nigeria, and so we are the Senate, sister Senate to Nigeria. So Nigeria then called on us and said, "Look, we want a university to be built in Nigeria." And then we took that to the table, to the global companion table, to have the conversation. And then the conversation was agreed that yes, a university should be built in Nigeria. And so a whole strategic plan was set up, and partners moved into Nigeria to work with the church in Nigeria. Partners from Nigeria came over to Minnesota to the Senate here to work with us. And then we came up with $500,000 project at the initial start. How does that work? That is just a framework how ALLIA is going to do it. As Maria said, we are not a donor, but we are a partner. So what the Senate did here was to make sure that the cooperator with all of the churches here that are part of the Senate here, because Nigeria is our overseas global companion, want to build a university. And through the Senate and through the agreement, all of the churches that are part of the Minneapolis area Senate all contributed towards that project. And within 1 day time of fundraising, which my church took part in, we were able to raise $500,000 for the university in Nigeria to be built. And the groundbreaking ceremony just took place a few months ago, with the first initial fund that was available to them. But that was the network, and that's the kind of role that ALLIA wants to play as partner. How can we do the fundraising here? How can we sell the project out here? How can we collaborate with other people? How can we build a network just like the Nigerian did in building all that network with the Minneapolis area Senate and to raise the fund? And the second phase of another $500,000 is already on the way. So those are those are what we're talking about. We're talking about partner. Individual ALLIA does not have the money to take it out of their bank account or their pocket to build a university. No, but we have to use the opportunity that we have in the United States here, the networking we have in the United States here. But that can only be worked with collaboration from LCA and with a blueprint. And I cannot go to the Senate here and say, look, we want to build a university in Liberia. We do not have a university in Liberia, and this is something that the Lutheran Church wants to do. I don't even have a blueprint to present to them. So that's what Maddie is talking about. We want this to be paid for. This is something that should have been done a long time ago. But, that's past story. Now that we have the opportunity, we want that blueprint to be printed, that strategic plan to set up the entire plan for the university. And then you as a partner now start to do the PR out there, setting up fundraising and other things to raise the money and do all of the connections. That's the kind of partnership we're talking about.
All right. Sorry, I'm not in uniformity of my colleagues because I've been having back and forth with my other window. So I had to use this. I'm using my phone now. But I partially listened to what Madam Capet said, and then I also got a bit of what you were saying on the development of the strategic plan. But I still think that the question still remains. There should be a kind of thinking already, if not, we say feasibility study being done, to have an understanding of, in terms of cents and dollars, what we're looking at. I know we still got data to develop, but again, we also see that a process is already in operation. You just talk about Phoebe. You talk about negotiating with the higher institution of learning in Liberia to get lessons, and lessons are already been granted, and it's not bad to plan backwards. That now you're going to develop the strategic plan, even though some activities have been conducted. And so before you reach to conducting activities or implementing activities, you should have a strategic plan, an operational plan, a budget, and then you go and develop activities from those strategic plans going down. But you've gone far with activities. Then you're talking about developing strategic plan. So it is somehow, but it's part of planning. I agree. But could you please unbundle from me, the whole, the whole issue of what particularly you are going to be looking at as your contribution, so to speak, that at least some of the process has started. You can speak to that, any one of you.
So let me. I've been reading the I think the chat room, and I'm seeing some very interesting questions. And I think there are some questions. If not, there is a question that is repeating itself. So I'm beginning to sense that there is a gravity to that question that needs to be answered. With the question you just asked, what is the cost? What specific areas is ALLIA going to contribute towards this process? To answer the question, let me also admit to you guys, from my personal point of view, I think the idea of developing a Lutheran University was an excitement in the beginning. It was not fully calculated. We had an excitement. And so what we did was we took the excitement and began to build around it and forgot about the integral part of what needed to be done to construct a Lutheran University. So after, like you said, after we developed activities, then we realized this excitement is becoming real now. So we need to do something about our excitement and see how we can put meat on the bone, so to speak, so that those who are on the outside of what we are doing can see us and say we're doing something. Again, like I said initially, we had opportunities, we missed them. At this point in time, there is not a physical budget that has been set for the construction of the Lutheran University. As Sis Madia said, we are now doing a reverse work. We are going backwards. We are starting from backwards to go forward. The strategic plan should have told us, we should have done that. It should have told us what the budget would look like and all of the items that would go within the university. What I saw personally happen was we took advantage of the fact that we had an institution, the Phoebe School of Nursing, that we could transform into a bachelor's degree program, and we begin to work on it real quickly without looking at the other aspect of it. Now, let me inform you that we thought about having 5 colleges first in the initial planning. But we're going to start with at least 2 or 3 of them. That should have told us that we needed to begin to develop a budget for those 5 colleges first. We did not do that. Again, what we saw was an excitement that said to us, oh, you can do this now. You got Phoebe going. You got St. Matthew. If we change St. Matthew into a college, we can put the teacher college in there. We can look at LTI. We had the institution around us or the infrastructures around us, but we did not calculate what the budgeting would look like. So now, like I said, we've passed that way now. What we intend to do is to go back to the drawing board and making sure that the strategic plan is done and it can accommodate the financial aspect of this entire project. Once we can see that happening, we can begin to expand. The good news is that we have not gone into a second college yet. We are still in 1 college. So if we can go and develop a strategic plan and have a budget attached to it, that would guide us as to what college we want to go into. But I think it was a missed opportunity for us to have left out budgeting first, strategic plan first, and we jump into the excitement by opening a college. But it is not too late. We can do better than that.
Joe, just one more before my internet start to fluctuate. You see this interview is getting very exciting, and I'm happy that we were able to understand the excitement around that. But again, if today, for example, because it's been going on, if today people listening would like to say, okay, well, because I saw your MOU and you're talking about, grant proposal and getting some other, sources of funding, mobilized resources, and you were called, your board were called, ALLIA was called and said, wait, we want to throw in some support. So what do you people already have? And how much do you anticipate us throwing in? I don't want to believe that you are going to tell them that we are going now to develop the strategic plan. Isn't that the case? Are you going to tell them, wait until we develop the strategic plan, and then when we come back, then we'll tell you how much we need? Is that what you're saying to us, Dr. Anderson?
No, that's not what I'm saying to you, sir. And that's a very
so. Why are you
question.
trying to say, sir?
Okay, good. That's a very good question. So, yes, what ALLIA has always done, and ALLIA has always been focused on. ALLIA has always told the LCL that we will provide as much human resources as you want. We have individuals here in America who has achieved academic standards that we can submit to them and can probably use them as volunteers and maybe not get paid for doing that for now in the initial stages. ALLIA has also said that in our meeting with the bishop, we also said that ALLIA is going to develop the network connectivity within America. Like Mr. Robert said, we'll do our best to make sure we can connect them to programs. Sis Mighty also alluded to the fact that we are going to write grants. ALLIA in itself is going to raise money. In our coming convention, we have earmarked raising $10,000 for the university project just for financing the strategic plan. So like you asked the question, if someone was going to ask us in these initial stages, ALLIA is raising $10,000 for the strategic plan. ALLIA is going to give him more resources to begin to facilitate what we have going on now. ALLIA is willing to also augment that later on in the future. ALLIA is going to network with other partners here in America that we can identify to raise funding for the LCL in Liberia. So why the truth we cannot quantify how much we give when it comes to the amount. These are resources that ALLIA can provide to assist in the process in these initial stages.
So I also like to say ALLIA is not just waiting for us to have a budget later on before we commit ourselves. So last year, following our convention in Baltimore, we started an endowment fund with the Mission Investment Fund of the ELCA. And that fund was set up specifically to identify resources, financial resources that we will commit to the project. And this year, we agree we will raise $10,000 at our convention. We started a raffle that we talked about a couple of months on your program. We having a raffle. We having some other fundraising activities in Philadelphia that we're going to be using to raise funds to ensure that these next steps that we have identified will be successful, and that we'll be able to financially be able to put the funds, make the funds available to make them successful. So we have our endowment fund. We're raising $10,000 at this convention, and we're going to develop that strategic plan in this process. At every stage, LCL has said they have the facilities. They have facilities, and their facilities will be what they will contribute to the project. But we don't have facilities, but we have networks, and we have the ability to raise funds to subsidize whatever they plan to do in this process. Again, I just like to reiterate that we're learning from the mistakes that we made. So going forward, it's going to be done differently.
Yeah.
And fortunately for us, we have a different team that's going to be working with us, so that we can be able to carry forth the project.
Joe, there one last question for me. Sorry,
Go ahead,
I really have a serious challenge with this internet. That was a brilliant response. Excellent, Madam Capet. Joe, I see you looking at me as the treasurer, and I know you wanted to chime in, but let me just say this. I saw in your MOU you were talking about some financial management. Though, in my opinion, the MOU that as is appears to be generic, because somewhere down you were talking about going to the specificities of the MOU and developing, designing proposal, and then you will have the roles and responsibilities, spell out in the sub framework that you develop. That is to tell you that the MOU was a bit generic, or is a bit generic, and I'm sure the structure plan will take care of some of those issues as we people go down the line.
Yeah.
But you were talking about escrow account being open, your 501c3 to open an escrow account there, because and then the LCA open an escrow account. Madam Capet, I think you appeared on the show before and we're asking you to give us a little rundown on how these monies are going to be managed. You're raising one set of the money, and LCR raising another set of the money, and how much, first of all, we're talking about? What's the ceiling we're looking at? At what point, we're going to start talking about dispersing the money? What are those activities we'll be looking at to do same? These are issues that I think is very, very key. Are very key that we need to look at. But you open an escrow account. What have you realized? With the exception of this convention, your 10,000 you want to raise, what have you realized already in that escrow account or restricted account as per your MOU?
In our restricted account, we have $5,000 that we put into that to open the account. Our subsequent goal is to raise $10,000 at this convention in August, and to look at other fundraising ideas that we intend to use to put that money in there. When we went to Liberia, we also agreed, we asked the LCL to open a restricted account there so that we will be able to transfer funds from our account to that account. The LCL agreed that they will open a specific account that will be restricted in Liberia, that we don't have to go through the ELCA as we did last year, but that fund will be transferred from our account here in the United States to Liberia in that restricted account. So that's where we are with that part, that they have agreed for this restricted account, and any contributions that we make will be channeled through that restricted account. No funds can be taken out of there unless both parties agree on a budget. So for example, right now they submitted a budget for this retreat that is being held in Phoebe in July, and so that budget was submitted to us, and we both agreed on whether to how the financing will be, and then we will transfer the funds to that restricted account before LCL can disperse it.
Joe, one last one, please. Sorry. It is important for us and our viewers to look at this, the seriousness of this collaboration. And I want to say thank you to ALLIA for all that you do, in helping the church. And but sometimes we have to be able to explain clearly, so we all understand how the collaboration, how the relationship, is forging, so people are clear. Madam Kape, you receive a budget. The budget will be funds. The budget will be analyzed. Funds will be transferred to a restricted account in Liberia. Okay. And could you just unbundle for us down the road how or what are the procedures put in place? Because we still don't get that connect. I don't know if you're getting me. We are still trying to find the next steps. Yeah, because you're going to send some funds, and the funds will be in another restricted account. Who operates that restricted account, and how is it going to? Because your MOU talks about 2 separate accounts, and we don't want to commingle funds.
Right.
Now you're sending some funds from one account to another account. So you send it to this LCA account. That means you just, since they made the budget, they ask you for some money as part of your support. You're going to support them in the retreat that all of you guys agree on, but they are going to exclusively utilize that fund and report to you people. Is that the process?
Yes, that's the process that has been developed so far. When we agreed in Monrovia that the treasurer will be the one to disburse the funds from that restricted account, and that once the funds go there and is approved by both partners, that money will be disbursed by the treasurer to the specific project that's being done.
And if I can just add to, before you go, Jerry, if I can just add to that, as Dr. Anderson said, yesterday's opportunity has passed us. It took more than a year plus just to have a memorandum signed. That was just a total setback when we had other goals and things, but without a memorandum, we could not move forward. We were stuck. As we said, we really don't want to talk about the past, but sometimes as a viewer, for viewer listening, to get a little bit of why the questions why would be asked. just to have a single memorandum, it took a year plus just to have that signed. We had to push a lot. That whole because with a memorandum, it's a tool that empower us to do other things, fundraising. Right now we're talking about our restricted account with 5,000. We could have more than that, but you can go to donors and corporation or networking, financial networking that you want to raise funds, and you don't even have these document in place that you need to use as a tools. And also in the middle of all of these things, we were still in the middle of having memorandum signed when those two institutions was ALLIA Monrovia started establishing those two institutions. We got to know about it. We did not even know. I will bring this out, unfortunately, to get some clarity. And immediately we're like, okay, we do not even have a memorandum signed. We're still talking about how we can put the area together. And we, all of these things. And now we just learned that Phoebe School is ready now in operation. But then we sat down, we said, well, this is still our country. This is still ALLIA, we own it. Let's just join and see how we can solve it, even though we have this crisis going on. Let us not just sit back and say, okay, we didn't have memorandum signed, we had a situation, you guys this is our proposal, you guys left our proposal and started to establish it yourself. We just sit back, we said no. So we had a meeting, so okay, this is where you guys are now. What can we do to continue with the progress so far? And then that's how we came into, as Maria said, he and another person is on the board over there. There's ad hoc board. In fact, the ad hoc board has to be set up just to control and implement immediate what ALLIA has established, unlike what ALLIA was proposing to them. That came as a backslide behind, but we just joined it. As I said, we chose to do it because we're looking at the beneficiary. Who are the beneficiary? It's ALLIA and our Lutheran brothers over there. So we said, let's just put the differences aside. Let's start all over there. And through that, let's see how we can work back. And that's why I see you working backward, trying to get all of this straightened up. But our hand has been tied to do fundraising because we need this document. We need this agreement. We need this blueprint to take out. And it took more than a year just to get those blueprints, and we're still talking about that. I mean, just imagine that.
Great. Jerry, you still have any question? Can I take it from here?
Except I got, but it's not in line with the budget and LUL. It's just something specifically to ALLIA itself. I don't know if you want me to roll with that.
We will come back to you. We'll come back to you with the next round of questioning. And later on, we'll go to Willie. But let me just say to our viewers that you are in tune to Lutheran discussion. This is my Lutheran Connections. We come to you every Sunday at this time. Today we are having ALLIA, the Association of Liberian Lutherans in the Americas. Today we are digging deeply into their contribution, their support to the establishment of the Lutheran University. And they made it very clear that is their signature project. And that is reflected by the MOU that exists between ALLIA and the LCL. So I will go back to you, Seth Madia, Dr. Anderson, and Joe. I also noticed in the copy that I have in my hands here, the MOU, that on the signature page, the difference that I see in the timing of the affixing of your signatures is reflective of conflict in itself from where I come from, my background. And you cannot affix your signature in September to a project that's supposed to be the signature project of the entire LCL, and the LCL leadership affixes her signature in December. There has to be a problem. There has to be a problem right there. Actually, there has to be a problem. It means that there were too many back and forths. There were too many disagreements, and there was some degree of reluctancy. And at the end of the day, you manage somehow, I don't know, the magic you use to have the leadership to finally sign, the bishop to sign, and the general secretary to sign. That was quite unfortunate. And I think this is reflective of some of the things that you enumerated in terms of the challenges that you had, quite unfortunately. The question I would like to ask with that backdrop is that did they establish the restricted account? Did the past leadership establish the restricted account that you have asked? Did they do it?
No, we were not aware there was a restricted account. When we went to Morovia, they did give us information on wiring. So they have set up this account, and the treasurer gave us how we can wire funds to them. So we are aware now that there is a restricted account that's set up now.
And the new leadership confirmed that, and it is
Yes,
something
the new leadership confirmed
is
that.
comfortable with.
Yes. And I'd like to go to the challenge that you just mentioned. This has not been
I want you to be
easy.
comfortable. I want you to be comfortable to talk about it because you're not the one who raised it. I raised it. So I want you to really talk about it the way
Right. So one of the challenges we faced was there was supposed to be a structure in place where ALLIA and the LCL leadership will meet monthly and go over all of these things and agree on the terms and conditions for our engagement. But it didn't take place the way we anticipated. It was like we're not accepted as a partner in this process. And so it was very difficult. So the timing, we send that to Liberia, and it took time for them to go over it and approve it and all of that. So that kind of communication, there were kinks in the process. So hopefully going forward, we have agreed that this structure has to be established so that there will be periodic meetings, even if we have to have monthly meetings by Zoom, that both leaderships will meet and be able to work out any challenges that we see coming forth. I'm hoping that on the agenda for this retreat, and this retreat is the end of this month, on the agenda is establishment of a new structure for communication with ALLIA, so that as we go through processing this strategic plan, we will be aware of the steps that are being implemented and be able to communicate with the group in Liberia on any concerns that we might have. But that wasn't possible, and that's why we keep saying we don't want to go to spill milk.
Right.
We want to move forward because it wasn't as smooth as we anticipated. Because one would think that we Lutherans and we Liberian Lutherans, and if you come and say, I want to help my church, we shouldn't have that kind of difficulty. But unfortunately, that happened. So.
I'd like to add.
And unfortunately, it was the leadership. Dr. Anderson, I know you would like to add to that, but I don't want to lose my thought. Let me just
go ahead
with this point. Unfortunately, you did not have anybody to take your grievances to, your complaints to, because you were dealing with the leadership, the bishop, and so you couldn't go beyond the bishop. So it was quite unfortunate in that respect. But let me add here that we're dealing with the Lutheran Church in Liberia, which is a subset of the Liberian society, and we are fully aware of the dependency syndrome in our country. The moment an institution decides to help a community or an institution in Liberia, especially from the diaspora in the US, there is this tendency that that institution is seen as a donor institution. They don't come to the understanding that they have a responsibility to play in realizing their collective dream. And I'm not going to take our church as an exception. ALLIA wants to contribute. ALLIA wants to realize the dream of every Lutheran, like all of us here on this platform. We want a university, not only to be on par with other churches, but to really contribute to the development of the young people of our country, the people of the church, in terms of providing tertiary education. we have to be mindful of the dependency syndrome. Is ALLIA mindful of that? And how is ALLIA going into this arrangement with the LCL so that the LCL sees herself as a partner, not as an institution at the receiving end? Because that is dangerous in this partnership.
Right.
That will make you to overwork yourself. That will make you to go the extra mile to look for money to fill the gaps. Will the LCL be providing matching funds to these things? We want you to be specific. Let's start with the strategic plan. How much is the LCL contributing in dollar and cents to the strategic plan? How much is LCL contributing in dollar and cents to the licensing process? Those two, I want you to be specific in dollar and cents. How much are they paying?
Okay, Murphy, you wanted to say something before I answer? Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say something different from what he said. So
Okay.
I don't know if I should say it first or you should go ahead and answer his question before I say what I wanted to say. So you can answer that question and then I will see what I wanted to say.
Okay, so yes, I'm aware. ALLIA is aware of that dependency syndrome that exists in Liberian society, and people tend to think when you want to make contribution, like you want to make contribution to your country, and to people think you got a lot of money. And so they don't feel you should be they don't feel they should be accountable to you when you're contributing. One of the issues that we have with the current MOU is that unfortunately we were not, I don't know whether to call it generic, but unfortunately we did not specifically state in that MOU that ALLIA will give 50% of any thing, or LCL will have to give 50%, or this is the way we're going to disperse. So that is going to be a major issue for revamping the MOU as it exists right now. Also, accountability. Who is going to be accountable for disbursement, and all of that was not specifically stated in this current MOU. So we're in the process, and Bishop Padmo has agreed that we'll look at some of those issues and revise this current MOU. But we cannot sit down and just let it be right now. One of the things that people in Liberia say, look, this is LCL's project. This is not ALLIA project, because LCL has the facilities, and where those institutions will be, they will provide them. So they feel that that's the contribution that LCL has to do. LCL does not have money, and that's what is normally told to us. LCL does not have money. So you will, if you're coming to help us with this project, you will have to bear the burden, the financial burden of it. Why I don't think that's the right approach. I think this is a matter of negotiation that has to take place between both parties, so that people are aware. If we're doing this, for example, the strategic plan, LCL will give 50% towards the strategic plan, and ALLIA will give 50%. I think those levels of percentages have to be worked out going forward.
Prior to working those out, how much is the LCL contributing to the strategic plan, and how much is contributing to the licensing process? I know you talk about the MOU being silent, being very mute on the aspect of contributions. But for this strategic plan, is ALLIA underwriting the cost 100%? Is that the case?
Okay, so we receive a budget for the first stage, which is the preparation for determining the terms of reference for the contractor who will do the strategic plan and the data analysis. So the way it is now, the budget they sent to us, because ALLIA had said when we were there that we wanted this to go forward, and so they are only contributing 24%, I think, and then ALLIA is contributing 76% of the budget for this retreat.
Joe, one quick question.
Yeah.
Are you looking inward in terms of the consultancy, or you guys intending to also?
Exactly. I was coming to that.
Okay,
If they
so
have to use that as part of our contribution because they are internal resources, that they could also tap into.
Okay, so all this time when we've been talking about this strategic plan and working, we know there are many capable Lutherans in Liberia and outside Liberia who could help us to do this strategic plan. And so what we have been doing, we have been consulting with Lutherans who have the capacity to do the strategic plan and the data analysis in Liberia. And most of them have agreed that they will, in principle, they will assist us in this process. So ALLIA will consult with those Lutherans who are in the country, who know the church, who know the environment, and try to use the capacity that is in country in the development of the strategic plan.
Let me just add something quick.
I was going to go to Dr. Anderson.
Before Dr. Anderson come in, just a quick something. Let me just add something quick to as a treasurer. One of the problems we have, we're talking about the percentage from the LCA and from ALLIA here. We have come up with some percentage, let's say the licensing and other things. But the problem with the past administration, and that's why I said quite different from the meeting we have had with the new administration. For the past administration, the response to us always was, we don't have money. And since the university is what we want, is our dream, is our lifeline, something that we really want to achieve. We have been going above those steps because as a partner, in fact, we wrote a couple of communications, say, look, we are partners. This is partnership something. So you have to have some percentage to pay. And they will say, okay, we agree to it. The next communication we receive will be, okay, what, pay the 100% and we'll pay you back later. We're like, no, we're going to send our percentage. We will send our portion. And SCS will drag on paying that portion. But because this is our signature dream, we're like, okay, let's just pay the 100%. So, and I agree with you, Joshua and Jerry, on these things. These are very, very important things that are supposed to be in the MOU, but we could not even come out with anything like that because they were always diverting from it. I have to come out to say some of these things that led to these things here. When you talk about you have to pay the percentage, they're like, no, we don't have money. But then we don't want our signature goal to just sit aside. We're like, okay, we will move forward and just swallow it. And this is something that, no, we got to stop it. It has to be a partner. We hope the new administration will understand it from that perspective that ALLIA is a partner with LCA to undertake this thing. Not that the past administration. The past administration was always, we do not have money. You guys send the money. We'll pay you back later. We don't have money. Pay A, and then we'll pay you back later. That has been a back and forth. As we said, there was a lot of opportunity we missed. Too many opportunity we missed for 3 years. 3 years, we were on this one thing. 3 years, we missed so many opportunities.
So they wanted you to establish the Lutheran University of Liberia on credit. Anyways, Dr. Anderson, you can chime in, and then
Joe, that is not a good description, Joe. Please.
Absolutely. If they ask ALLIA to pay 100% and they pay ALLIA later, it was a form of credit, Jared.
Well,
I don't know if I'm giving Dr. Anderson some, points here to chime on. But
no, I wouldn't say much. What I really wanted to say is that for our viewing audience, ALLIA, I like to see ALLIA as a socio-economic Christian-based organization that is geared towards helping our church move in a new direction. Like all of us have said, the issue of dependency syndrome has grasped our country very, very profoundly. And we think at this time in the history of our church, being one of the oldest churches in Liberia, the church needs to look differently, look in a different direction. Why the street that we are concerned about evangelism, we are concerned about the gospel itself. The church needs to look at some other ways by which it can raise funds. Now, one thing ALLIA want to make very clear to all of our members and even the viewing audience is that ALLIA is not a donor agency. That's not what we intend to be. What we intend to be is to be a socio-economic, Christian-based organization that will work with the church to bring in some new developments in different aspects. That's our goal. And so we also, in the same token, we also respect institutional integrity, knowing that the LCL and ALLIA are two different organizations. But there is one thing we want to do with them. And the question you asked about the percentage of how much ALLIA is going to pay, how much the LCL is going to pay. So let me give you an idea. ALLIA is going through a transitional period. It's reconstructing, it's decentralizing. When we spoke with the bishop in Liberia, one of the things we want to do with the church in Liberia is to see how we can align policies and procedures that can be geared towards meeting these goals. That ALLIA can develop these same policies and procedures in the Lutheran Church in Liberia, not only the religious aspect, but these economic incentives, economic ideas that we can develop. We can align ourselves as two organizations, align ourselves and develop them. So when ALLIA is talking about how we can become financially sustainable in the long distant future, the Lutheran Church can see those same ideas and follow suit. When the Lutheran Church say we are being financially sustainable, ALLIA can see the same thing. So in other words, ALLIA is interested in developing policies and procedure with the Lutheran Church. Even with respect to the LCL project, we want to make sure that we can develop policies and procedure together and that can lead us in the future in the same direction. While it is true that we are respecting our institutional integrity, making sure that what you do is your business, what we do is our business, but there is somewhere we can meet and we can work together. And that's what we are working towards. So all of these things that we have not done correctly in the past, our mindset is that in this new venture we are in, they will become receptive to us and we'll become receptive to them. And we'll develop that partnership, not that donorship, but that partnership that allows us to see each other as partners and develop strategic plans that can work between the two organizations to moving us in the same direction, but moving us, respectfully and making sure that what we do is meant to drive the two of us together, not leaving one behind or not the other person pulling the other person forward. Instead, we are both going together at the same time. That's the goal we have in ALLIA.
Absolutely. That's a very good goal. And that goal is broader in nature to be able to support every other projects that you will want to have as partners going forward. However, it is strategically important for the university project, and that is why I want to speak to the importance of the strategic plan, because the strategic plan is the roadmap. The strategic plan is going to talk about the context, is going to talk about the goals, the objectives that you both want to achieve together. And it's going to talk about clearly defined roles and responsibilities.
Correct.
But the strategic plan will not be that binding document. And that must not be another mistake. It's not going to be that binding document. There has to be an instrument that will hold you, ALLIA, and the LCL accountable for the scrupulous implementation of the strategic plan.
Correct.
And that document has to be an implementable MOU. That's what you need to have. So I'm sure everybody on this platform and ALLIA herself is looking at this MOU as not being in existence. This MOU that you have, I'm very sure that you are looking at it as though you didn't enter this agreement because almost every aspect of this MOU was disregarded in the true sense of the word. So you have to pretend as though it doesn't exist. The strategic plan is the beginning of your partnership with the LCL on the establishment of the university. And the way to do it is to finish the strategic plan and quickly develop an acceptable MOU that will hold everybody accountable. Is that something you're looking at? Is that the way you want to proceed from the...
Yes, that's the way we want to proceed. That's the way we want to proceed.
Right. And Joe, if I can add real quickly, let me also inform our viewing
So let me
audience.
just say this. Let me just say this. Willie, we are coming to you. Willie, I know you are bold. We are coming to you. We are coming to you. Sorry, Willie, I never had any good choice of words to you. Sorry, let me come to you, Willie. You are going to recognize our viewers and then try to display some of the comments so that our panelists can see and know what the viewers are thinking. Because the viewers,
if I can quickly say, Josiah, please, if I can quickly say, the MOU is a revolving document. It's a document we have worked on. It's a work in progress. What we have now, the version we have now, was not what we had 3 years ago. So as time is changing, as more engagements are being done, the MOU is, it's sad to say that way that we should have a fixed MOU now, but it has been changing. It's gradually been changing. So we are very optimistic that at the end of the time, we'll get a fine MOU.
I don't disagree, but if this is the result of some revisions, then
Yes.
then it's something else.
Because
Because
you understand that.
yeah, then it's something else. So I would agree with Sis Marie that the way you want to proceed is to have a strategic plan, a roadmap, and then the roadmap will inform an acceptable MOU, because the MOU will be established on the basis of the roadmap. Because
Right.
yeah, so I do agree that you have to have MOU in the first place initially, and then you have to revise it to have this one that we are discussing right now. And you did not only have problem with the wordings or the structure of the MOUs that you've had, but you've had problem with people committing themselves to what they put on paper. You have had a serious problem with that. And that made it very difficult with you in the recent past, you know.
Yes.
So I hope the strategic plan will help to inform a better MOU. But at this time, folks, we have to go back to you, the audience. You are the judge. This program is for you. The intent is to help you better understand the workings of the LCL and strategic partner like ALLIA. So today they are here is a blessing. We go over to Willie. Willie will take us through the comments and recognize some of our viewers.
Absolutely, Brother Joker. And to all of our viewers, we want to say thank you, especially for those who are joining us for the very first time. I like to begin like this in an unusual way. Today is the birth anniversary of my father, Mr. Osanto J. Cowboy Sr. I want to wish him happy birthday, Dad. I mean, he had an amazing day today. Sent me some photos. I wish I would have been there, but
Great.
yeah. So yeah,
Happy
but
birthday.
absolutely, yeah. I want to recognize our brother Sarabasa. He's joining us from Florida. He follows sometimes, and you know, in and out. But we really want to recognize our brother Sarabasa. He's actually from Feasible area. He's from the Feasible area, so we want to recognize our brother Sarabasa. Uh, and also our brother Zizi Roberts. Zizi Roberts is also a member that you know he's a member of ALLIA, and I think he has a question there. Okay, we will get to that. So let us just recognize our viewers, then we'll go to some of the comments. We want to recognize our brother Emmanuel Kokoya, the Reverend J. Wokolo Colley, brother J. Benedict Kekula, our brother Fit Hope and Love. He's there from St. Matthew's Lutheran Parish. Sister Etta Livingstone, this is your first time watching. We want to say thank you and welcome. Reverend Smopy Kokolo. Reverend Smopy Kokolo want to say welcome. He's watching us there from Old Road. And our regular follower, Father Melipake. I need to try to get this name properly. I believe it's
Manly Pele.
Manipule. It's somewhere from the. You know, I would blame my wife for this. She has to show me Pele, so I would blame her for this. Or I would blame the doctor, Dr. Anderson. I would blame him. He didn't show. I always show him Loma, but he doesn't show me Pele. So
I will show you, Willie. I will show you.
but you will get the Fataugi.
Yeah, Fatality.
Joe,
Okay. So Manipule Sumo want to recognize you, and yeah. So, but Bijo, before we go quickly to Jerry, I just want to say this quickly that you are not wrong for saying that I'm bored today because I should have been on the other side. But I
Mhm.
found myself on this side, and I don't want to kind of, when they say, plead the fifth, incriminate yourself or something like that, because there's some
Really, you don't have to explain. I intentionally say you
exactly.
because I know
So
that you are
I try to be
part of
tight lipped
ALLIA.
because
You are part of ALLIA, and we're supposed to be asking you questions. Interestingly, you are here providing technical support for us to bombard Dr. Anderson, Sis Maria, and Joe.
right,
Go,
right.
Yeah, Ambassador.
go. Yeah, I'm really. I'm today. I'm really in the squeeze, and I really want to apologize to the panelists. I mean, to our guests for the fluctuation happening on my side. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
you
um,
fine. Yeah.
yeah, good. I listened to all of you very well. I think I went off when Dr. Anderson was trying to give some information as it relates to relationship, so to speak. But it is good that you guys are coming back to Liberia.
Jerry, before you come with your question, if you want to ask a question, we have to go back. We have not taken the comments yet.
Yeah. So yeah, the comments.
We need,
So
we need
brother,
to display the comments, and after that, we
right,
come to you.
right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Sorry.
for our guests, if you can just follow the comments and then just take cue to them, you can respond to them. Brother Zizi is saying that Zizi Roberts is saying that they want to amend the constitution and ostracize members of ALLIA, talking about Liberian Lutherans in the diaspora, but they want ALLIA's resources. Some of these comments we need to take key to them, because if ALLIA as an organization is to achieve her goals, like the projects and everything, the membership you will go to the membership of ALLIA. Okay, and when some of these comments are coming up, maybe you can take key to them, and then maybe give us some
Yeah,
assurance that the new
let's
administration has to do.
display the comments.
Yep.
Sis Maria Anderson and Joe, you know the way to address those.
Right. So Brother Sonny George, I mean, he's a regular member, a regular follower. He's watching us from Philadelphia, and I think today everyone is just enjoying our guests. So it's not really that many comments, but they are following. Maybe when we open the lines, then they will call in. But so far so good. We only have one comment. I think it's like a question from Brother Zizi Roberts.
Okay, so you can display the numbers.
Yeah. Doing that right now.
Let's go over to Jerry. And Jerry, in your absence, we talk about the MOU, the existing MOU, as though it doesn't exist. So we wouldn't have to be pressing Dr. Anderson, Sis Madia, and Joe too much on this document, because we are behaving as though it doesn't really exist. It was flagrantly disrespected, not by ALLIA from all indication. ALLIA, yes, take responsibility for some part, but for the most part, the past leadership bear greater responsibility for the failure to fully implement this document. So what they are looking at is to come up with a strategic plan that will be the roadmap, and that strategic plan will inform the new MOU that will be binding on both parties. I just wanted to let you know, because your fluctuation didn't allow you to see that part or to watch that part. So you can go ahead with your question, Jerry.
Thank you, Joe. Am I clear enough? Are you people getting me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. Mine was just a comment. I just in line with what they have said, that let us consider this MOU to be mute, and then we'll see how we can after the strategic plan, develop a new MOU. But just to caution them that the very first thing in this kind of planning is clarity of thought. So this time around, we will need to get on the ground to be clear. And not to make yourself appear as if you are a donor, because the MOU that we're talking about even just displayed that you were a kind of donor. So we need to have a clarity of thought on that, and we need to make sure that roles and responsibility are clearly defined in the new MOU that we want to develop, so that all parties will see themselves as partners, equal partners, and looking at the comparative advantage and the economic the size of the envelope, then maybe we could look at the percentage, 25, this percent, 75%, or maybe 50%, depends on, the size of the envelope and the economies of the two institutions or the two partners. So I just wanted to raise that so that at least we will know when we come to Monrovia and we look at the strategic plan, we are all clear on making sure that roles and responsibility are defined. So clarity of thought is the first issue we need to look at. Now, my question before we go to the quarters, why we are changing our assembly venue from Columbus, Ohio to Philadelphia? ALLIA.
I'm muted. Sorry, I'm muted. I got a question on the university before we come to the convention. Jerry, they have noted your question. I'm sure you noted Jerry's question, but I wanted to ask a question on the university before going to the convention, Jerry, just for uniformity. Yes, thank you, Ambassador. There is a leadership transition taking place in Liberia as far as the Lutheran University, leadership establishment leadership is concerned. Is taking place right now, and you are in the process of doing the strategic plan. This is very critical. This is going to be an indicator of the success of your partnership, the strategic plan. So who's facilitating the process in Monrovia right now? I spoke with Jesse King. As a matter of fact, Reverend King was going to be on this show today. I spoke with him and we did our best to have him here today, but our understanding is that he is overly busy. He said he's overly busy. He can appear anytime. We had no idea that in fact he's getting ready for studies, but he just said to me, and he said that to me, and I relayed to my colleagues that he's overly busy. So he couldn't be here. We really wanted him to be on the show today with you guys, for all of us to talk about this thing. So I want everybody to know that we did our best to balance it in a way that we would have Reverend King here today to sit with you. But the fact that the transition is taking place and Reverend King has confirmed that he's overly busy with other issues, and I think conducting workshops and stuff. So who's facilitating this whole thing, the strategic plan section that you intend to have and the licensing process? Who's taking care of that?
So Reverend King is going to be leaving. So he's facilitating this restructuring of the committee and including the original members who were on the technical committee in Liberia. And they are going to be participating in this retreat. And the retreat is supposed to select a contractor who will be the person who will analyze the data and write the strategic plan. So right now, Reverend King is heading that committee. He's supposed to be leaving shortly, so I don't know his excuse for not being on with us today. But I would like to say that he's the one who heads the technical committee in Liberia at this time. And I had the technical committee on this side. So that's why I'm here.
Let me also add.
Jerry Willie. Oh, okay, good. Go ahead.
I think in our meeting with the bishop, he also said to us that Dala Kokwea was going to be assisting in the process. So I think Dala Kokwea plays a major role in this transition also. When Reverend King is gone, Dala should be stepping in to assist.
I like straightforward answers on critical issues, especially where there are gray areas, and Dr. Anderson understands that very well. I think this thing we should be very clear about how it's proceeding in Monrovia, because like I said, the strategic plan development is very important. Yeah. Willie, Jerry, I don't know about you, but my feeling is that there is still a gray area that needs some clarification. Reverend King, I was in communication constantly during the entire week with Reverend King, and he made it clear to me that he's in Lofa. That's the first thing, and that he is conducting workshops. He's overly busy. I share the information with my colleagues, and this strategic plan is coming right at the end of this week. Development plan that's starting at the end of this week in terms of
Yeah,
getting the
this
number.
weekend. Yeah.
This is critical, and
Mhm.
if Dollar is stepping in when Jesse leaves, there seems to be a gap. Is this something critical for you guys? Is this something you guys are really discussing right now and talking about bridging the gap that exists? Because to do a strategic plan, I have been involved with some of those sections. It is not any scratching hair or just a popping thing. Is really something critical that requires a focus, a serious focus. How are you going to do this with this transition? Because Jesse King is not even in Monrovia. He's in Lofa, as far as he said.
But Josiah, if I can say this, like I said earlier, and I want to say again, it might seem too early, too early in the pipeline to think that what we're doing with the current leadership is not going to be fruitful. What I want to believe is that the individual called Dala Kokwea is very articulate. He knows exactly what he's doing. What I do believe is that for Bishop to have asked him to play that role in consultation with Jesse, it tells me that Bishop has been contemplating on this. In fact, we asked Bishop if he was fully aware of the MOU, the current one, and he told us he had read it over and over again. We asked him if he had any concerns that would allow us to talk about it before the transition is made, and he told us, as far as he's concerned, what we have now is a work in process. It's a good start, and that Dala would be helping him to move that forward. So what I think we are doing as ALLIA is giving it the benefit of the doubt for now to see how this new leadership can begin to roll the ball. I'm confident. I'm very confident, knowing who Bishop Padmo is, that he has appointed the rightful person to replace Jesse when he's gone. I'm also confident that when he has told us that he's going to be open, he's going to be communicating with us every time we need his attention, and he's going to do his best to put the right steps into place for us to be successful. I'm confident we're going to achieve that. Yeah.
Yeah. If I can just add to
Joe, before you add, I think the question Josiah asked is very key and is critical.
Yes.
Because we are talking about a few days from now,
Right.
for a retreat.
Right.
And from where I sit and listening to Dr. Anderson, it's like we're still speculating.
We're not speculating.
Sorry. We seem still not to understand who's going to actually be facilitating now and even after Jesse King leaves. There is no clear roadmap on that. We still seem not to understand how the process, in fact, from the first instance, going to happen in Monrovia. Because by now the team should be giving not only the budget they should be sending to you, but if you send you the whole activities to look at from point A to point B. I want to assume that is what you got before you. And so if we are not speculating, then can you please clarify, so to speak, where we are in terms of the planning for this retreat?
So we are
aware. We want to welcome our colleague Abel Yawali. Like I said, Abel Yawali is bereaved. I didn't expect to see him on here today. Abel, we are so sorry for the loss of your brother. Is that your brother? We are so very sorry.
Yeah, his brother.
Yeah. Our
so sorry.
So sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my oldest brother. I just arrived in Addis Ababa, but yes, we have the funeral arrangement ongoing. Hopefully, we do the burial on the 6th. But here on a short visit, and I thought it was to just join you guys before the show is over.
And sorry, quickly, Bijo, I know you're in charge, but quickly, can I just squeeze this in? Since we talked about talking about sympathy, we also want to extend on behalf of my Lutheran connection to the Nushin family, to the Nushin family, Brother Philip Nushin and the rest of the family. We want to say have our deepest condolences for the loss of Mother Annie Nushin. She a very, yes, if you're just learning this, she passed last week. A
What?
very powerful woman in the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So we lost a great hero. I was very, very touched when I heard that news. So to Brother Philip Nushin, I know you watching over there. Brother Nakli Nushin, Sis Apu, Brother Nana, and the entire Nushin family want to say have our sympathy.
Right.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much. Also, when we Miller from the
And
Simafi movement.
St. Matthew family and the Miller family, Brother Ziza Miller from St. Peter's and the entire Miller family. We want to say have our deepest condolences. Another great woman.
When you say Zeze Miller,
Yes,
you Zeze
Wenwu
Miller himself?
I'm telling you, yeah, she's my
No,
aunt.
we mean
And
when we Miller. When we
Yes,
Miller.
yes, Wenwu Miller.
Yes, sis
So
Wenwu. Sis
sorry, so
Wenwu.
sorry. Yeah.
Whose husband is the
Yeah.
vice president at BWI? When
At
we Miller's
BWI.
person.
So yes, have our deepest condolences to the Miller family, to the Nushin family, and our senior brother, our chief strategist here, Brother Abel. We want to say have our deepest condolences. About deepest
Thank you.
condolences. And because of your love of our church, I mean, you just took a travel and you just got in Addis Ababa and you're here on set with us. You are a great leader. Want to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Okay, Sis Maria. Yeah, sorry,
So,
we
so what I was saying is that we do have concerns also about the transitioning, but we were assured by Bishop Padmore that he will ensure that this transition took place in a timely and constructive manner. So I'm optimistic that the results will come from the retreat, even with Reverend King moving off the scene and others coming into place.
That's good.
So all I can do is to pray that we don't go back to where we were, and that we're moving forward to accomplish the things that we set out to do in the
That's
beginning.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, for me, I'm the finance is what I like. So
Yeah.
that's my point of area of interest. So I mean, I'll just add to what Sis might have seen is that I hope that after the retreat we'll really start moving forward. Let me just give one typical example. As I said, the Lutheran University in Nigeria that is now under construction right now after we raised $500,000 here in Minnesota. When we had a board meeting and then our church decided to give some money towards that university in Nigeria. And my church is a multicultural church where between 50 to 55% are Liberian. After that check was sent out, it was announced, and people came to, thank you.
Hello, Joe. We are sorry to break you. We have a call, Joe. We'll come back to you, Joe. We'll take the call now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Should I go ahead?
No, call out. You can come in. Tell us your name.
Okay, go ahead, Reverend. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, my dear brothers and sisters. My dear brothers and sister. We only have one sister there. My big sister is Maddie of ALLIA. And, there are some of us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you all for this podcast today. I'm religiously following from our living room here in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, by way of YouTube. So thank you to my brother, Dr. Anderson, my sister, Sis Badie, and my brother, the treasurer of ALLIA, Brother Joe Roberts, for articulating ALLIA's perspective regarding this MOU with the LCL, our beloved church in Liberia.
Okay, Reverend. Do you have any? Oh, go ahead, Reverend.
Okay, I just have a question to my colleagues, and the question is very simple. So what next with the current leadership? What's the way forward with the current leadership of the LCA? And I'm hearing, to fine tune the MOU, and secondly to possibly propose some policy and alignment with the LCL. Is there any other way forward? Any other ideas?
All right. Thank you, Reverend, for the call. The question. We have another call following. Or let us just take both for them.
Yeah.
Please.
So you can note the question, please, Sis Maria, Dr. Anderson, and Joe. You can note the question. We have another call.
Go ahead. Tell us your name, please.
Their name.
Your comment.
Their name and a comment, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sanzo. I'm calling from the city of Brotherly Love. I just want to interject that sometimes it will be very important if we have like the lead facilitator to be like an outsider. I think that if we have an outsider to be a lead facilitator, he's going to bring balance to the discussion. He's going to be ambient enough. He's going to discuss it like it is. And, with no disrespect to the Lutheran people, we know that we got so many good people, so many educated people. But sometimes we got natural biases that interplay with our actions and the rules that we play. So sometimes it's good to bring a third person from outside to see with a third eye to help us to be balanced and strategic enough. I think that this is something that will be good for the Lutheran Church. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother George. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So there you have it. We have a comment and we have a question.
This is the order we will go. Joe was in flight. Joe, we will let you end your comment, and then you guys will go back to take the question, and any of you can decide to take on the two questions. But Joe, you were in flight. You can complete your thought, Joe, and then you guys can take the questions.
Right. Yeah, thank you. In fact, and any of my comments will be almost in question to the answering part of the question I was asked about how we go forward. I was just making a reference to that. That is, when I check what issue for the university, the Lutheran University to be built in Nigeria, my congregation thought it was for Liberia, and so I was then asked how much did they send to Liberia. So I told them, I said, no, this is for Nigeria. And they're like, no, we thought it's supposed to be for Liberia. I said, no, I have not yet requested funding to go for Liberia. And the reason to that is because we need these documents that I have to take out to, people that I want to talk to, churches, organizations, people who fund institutions, schools, and other things. But with all these documents, I can't do some of these things that we want to do from this end. That's one example. They all thought that check was for Liberia, but no, those thousands of dollars went to Nigeria because we stayed, going up and down with just trying to get MOU signed, trying to get strategy. These things almost 2 years in the making. We're losing a lot of opportunities. So, like the question the person asked, my hope is we had a meeting with the bishop, the present bishop. We had a meeting with him, and it was a fruitful meeting, and we discussed some of our frustration that we had, opportunity that we lost in the past that today LCM have benefited from it, and we hope that these things will be addressed so that we can move forward with our dreams and goals. So I'm crossing my finger. As I said, for me, I'm in the financing the money area. My whole goal is to raise money. That's what I want to do. But I can't do them without all of these agreements into place. So I'm really praying that there will be a fruitful understanding between the new administration that will empower us here to do all of these networking and raising funds and other things for LCA and for the university. That's my hope.
So I'd like to answer Reverend Allison's question. Reverend Allison is a member of the board of Phoebe. He and I serve as ALLIA's board members, ad hoc board members. And we are involved in the process of working on the strategic plan and next steps. So this is just our what we plan to do in the future, in the immediate future. And I'm sure as our discussion in Monrovia with the LCL was that there are other areas that the LCL would like to see ALLIA play a role in. So the university project is the major project, but there are other areas that they would like to see us help with. So I think that the strategic plan is our next steps, and from there we will determine the level and of participation with the LCL in this project. Thank you.
I think you're on mute. Big Joe, you're on mute, Joe.
I'm so sorry, folks. Thank you, Willie.
Yeah. Our ambassador is on the phone. Just so you, the viewers, please. He has some issue with his connection, but he's on the phone.
Right, we have Jerry on the phone. That's good. Jerry is following, and if he has to make any interventions, we'll revert back to him. But Sis Maria, that was a good point regarding Reverend Allison's question. However, I think he was specific about policy in terms of how you intend to go forward. Are you going to fine-tune specifically, he asked, and I quote, are we going to fine-tune the MOU? And I'm sure you wanted to say yes to that because you spoke that initially.
Yes.
Yeah, so you wanted to talk about that a little bit. He was specific. I think that's an area of interest for him.
So like we have been discussing during this time with you, the need for this strategic plan that will clearly define policies, rules, responsibilities, accountability, donation, level of support, all of those things I'm hoping will come out in that strategic plan. And after that strategic plan, we're going to go back to the table to look at the MOU and work on those areas that we feel will contribute to the success of this vision of a Lutheran University in Liberia.
Great. So, Dr. Anderson, you wanted to speak to any of the questions that was asked by the viewers?
Well, I think I can speak to the policies, apart from what Sis Marty have said concerning the MOU. When I was talking about during our meeting with the bishop, I think one of the assurance he gave us, the reason why I think it's an assurance is because he spoke about one of his goals in his new leadership would be to advance the issue of evangelism. So when I was talking about how we could develop policies that can align ALLIA and the LCL together to move forward, he saw that to be something that he thought about to do in his new leadership. So our hope is that just me thinking, since I am the chairperson for planning and programming for ALLIA, our hope is that in the future, the LCL can develop a strategic team that can look at strategic policies and procedures of doing things in the LCL and ALLIA that we can work together. That's something we are proposing and we are very serious about. Again, for example, financial sustainability. How do we develop policies and procedures that can help both organizations to raise funds and to manage the funds well? How can we set those instruments that are needed to protect the use of public goods so that we're not misusing them? How can we talk about membership? If you look at the church in Liberia, you see that the membership is shrinking and our members are going to other churches. ALLIA is also trying to find ways to see how we can bring all of these splinter groups into ALLIA. So those kind of policies that we can develop along with the LCL to target our members who have left us, who are coming in, those are things we are hoping we can work together about. And Bishop has said he's looking forward to developing that kind of team to work together to doing those kind of things.
Yeah. Right. And we will go to Jerry on the phone, but prior to going to Jerry on the phone, I just want to say I agree with you, Dr. Anderson, when it comes to the whole idea of working together and having policies in place for the collaborations you intend to have. That is quite important because accountability matters a lot. You don't want to lose situation. So that you can experience what you just experienced in the recent past. That would not be a good approach. But let us not forget that whenever a new leadership comes into power, it comes with certain degree of excitement.
Correct.
And sometimes they get lost in the midst of the excitement, and sometimes even forget about the platforms, that brought them to power. I'm not saying that's the case with the current leadership, but I mean, from experience, this tends to be some 75-80% possibility. You talk about the shrinking population of the church. I'm aware that some of our brothers and sisters are leaving. They are going to other denominations for different reasons. But do you have any form of data or some information in terms of the extent, the measure to which that is happening in the church? Not for this show, something probably you can share with us in different ways for people to better understand, because I can also help to inform other programs that you intend to undertake, where to focus it, how to focus it, and which population demographic to target in the church. That's also very critical. But we will go to the phone and go to Jerry. Jerry has a question. Jerry?
Ambassador?
Yes, okay. Thank you so much, Joe. I had to resort in using the phone now and not the audio visual. Firstly, Joe, are we now through with all of the issue concerning the LUL and the issue of the strategic plan and all of those stuff? Because I want to ask a question that would not be in that domain. Are we through with all of them?
Absolutely. For now, we will rest the discussion on the Lutheran University. We've gotten a lot from ALLIA, and we are very grateful for the honor, to come and be able to share so much information. We will go over to the convention where, Jerry, you will take it from here to ask the first question, but we won't keep our guests any longer for long because they've been here for 2 hours, unprecedented. We will definitely just maybe narrow down in 30 minutes. We appeal to you, please stay with us for the next 30 minutes for us to ask you questions about your own convention, and I'm sure you'll be very happy to talk about it, your own convention, and then we can have closing statements after the convention discussion. Jerry, you can take it from here.
Thank you, Joe, and I want to say thank you so much. That is to tell you how we are all excited about this LUL and ALLIA's support. So the convention, your convention, the last time I remember we had an interaction with Madam Capet. She was so excited, and we had tickets out talking about your convention. And it should have been held in Columbus, Ohio. But now we are getting information, or we are reliably informed that you are shifting venue to Philadelphia. Could you care telling us and the viewers why?
So let me speak to that, since I'm the national chairperson on planning. ALLIA is structured such that currently it has a board, it has an executive committee, and it has a national planning committee. The function of the national planning committee is to identify, to assess, identify, and to strategically plan conventions that will bring about new developments in our plans and our approach towards how we move the organization and its resources into different places. The decision to move the convention from Ohio to Philadelphia was strictly administrative. The National Planning Committee identified some setbacks, and so created a report and submitted that to, after interaction with the local host being Columbus, submitted that to the executive committee for its review. The executive committee looked through the report, engaged the local host to find some kind of a workable solution. I will not speak to that because the president has not given me the authority to speak to that, but based upon their interaction with the local host, they determined that it would be in the best interest for ALLIA to move the convention from Columbus this year to our foundational host, which is Philadelphia for the sake of peaceful coexistence, and that in the future we can bring it back to Ohio. So that decision was administrative and was strictly decided by the executive committee with the approval of the board.
All right. So thank you so much for the clarity and issues surrounding administration. Sometimes can be very, very tricky, and so I'm careful not to hear somebody saying that you are dismissed for administrative reason, and that is inferior. There is no detail behind that, but it's good that at least we understand that you are shifting now from Ohio to Philadelphia, and the rationale behind that is purely administrative. But so how is the momentum around that now that you have changed venue? You already have tickets that you were circulating, and they had on it Ohio, Columbus. I mean, it's just the matter of clicking a button for us to change from Ohio to right on the ticket for Philadelphia. But what is the momentum now following your decision?
Well, I will encourage any one of our.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sister Maria.
So nothing has changed. We had sent out raffle tickets throughout the country. Lutherans have been very supportive. Since I got back from Liberia, most of the people who took tickets have been sending me their stubs and their money. So there's not going to be much difference. On the ticket, it said you do need to be present to win. So everything is still in place. And I'd like to tell you that people have been very, very supportive of the raffle. And to thank all of those who have helped us to sell tickets and who are willing to still buy tickets as we go to Philadelphia. In addition to that, there are other fundraising activities that are going to be in Philadelphia. We're going to do, you can bring your noisy coins to Philadelphia to help with the projects. We are also having patrons who are donating between $500 to $1,000 towards the university project. And those patrons will receive ALLIA pins, making them patrons for the university project. So we have a lot of fundraisers that are going on. We normally have a banquet, and the banquet will be held in Philadelphia also. And at that banquet, we're hoping that people will come to support us as we raise funds for the banquet. At the banquet, also, we're going to be honoring those who got doctorate degrees this year. We have 3 people who have received their doctorate degrees, and we'll be honoring them. In addition, Pastor Dennis has been president for 10 years, so we're going to be honoring him also for his leadership in ALLIA. So there are lots of fundraising activities, and we have been getting a lot of support from people, from Lutherans, from non-Lutherans who believe in our cause of this Lutheran University and are supporting us in raising funds, raising the $10,000 to meet the $10,000 goal that we set. Joe, you want to add something?
Okay, so just one last one from me.
Before Joe comes
just one last one from me, Joe.
Jerry, before your last question, Jerry. Hello, Jerry.
Since it is in relations with the whole LUL, and I just heard you learning and talking about the issue of the 10,000, are you people also anticipating inviting the new bishop, Bishop Padmo? Is that something that you're thinking of to at least make a statement and also reinforce the commitment?
Yes, we did offer an invitation to Bishop Padmo, and he was going to work with the church there and the embassy of of America, United States, to ensure that he will be able to attend this convention. We had also anticipated getting him to, if he comes, to be able to go to other synods that have interest in this university project and want to contribute to that. Not only financially, but there are some synods that want to send technical expertise to help in development of the university project. So hopefully, if he comes to the convention, we'll be glad to take him around and to and take him to the ELCA and other agencies that are interested in the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Also, next year, the Lutheran Church in Liberia will host the International African Lutheran Conference. It will be held in April in Liberia. And the theme of that conference is Preach, Heal, and Teach. And this is an opportunity for the Lutheran Church in Liberia to show the ELCA and the world what they've done for 162 years and their accomplishments in this process. The emphasis is on evangelism and showing how we've helped to evangelize in Liberia and sharing our experiences with other African congregations, other African synods and congregations. I chair the international conference, and I will be coming back later on another program to talk about the conference and to solicit the support of all Lutherans to make sure that we showcase the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Thank you.
Okay. If I can just add to the momentum you were asking about, yes, ALLIA convention, we have always tried to keep the momentum regardless of the location of where the convention is held. Unfortunately, we had to redirect it from Ohio to Philadelphia. But as Lutheran, and we all know the goals and objective of ALLIA, we still try to focus on that. Again, just as Dr. Anderson said, we will bring the convention back. That was due to administrative decision. But some of the momentum is like when we relocated to Philadelphia, we were able to get 2 other Lutheran churches that have not been part of, or in fact, they are part of the planning committee right now. Immediately got on board. So we have 2 other churches coming in with their members, New Jersey and another place that has not been part of ALLIA. And they are so excited that in fact, some of them are members of the planning committee right now. And also, just as Sis Maria said, with the new bishop, like me in Minnesota, I'm trying to see how I can have the bishop to come over to Minnesota to meet with the bishop here. Yesterday, I was fortunate to have brought Bishop Harris here as one of the guests, as our guest speaker for our convention here in Minnesota. I'm trying to navigate to have our bishop come over here to meet with the Senate here, so that we can have some opportunity for LCA in Liberia. And those of all members of ALLIA from different other places like Canada and other places, I know some of our goal is to see how we can get our bishop well known, do a good PR for him within Canada or within the United States. So those are some of the momentum that we had. Unlike unfortunately that won't have worked with the past administration. But with the new administration, we see that momentum, and then we immediately looking at some of these opportunities that we will not have even tapped into because of this situation, the relationship we have. So that's momentum right there that we have changed. We are, reversed our whole thoughts. Everything now is on a positive movement. What can we do? How can we help the new bishop? How can we help LCA? That's for me, that's the goal, and that's a momentum right there. So our whole mindset has changed, and I would say to those who are in Ohio, we understand the situation, but let us remember that we have one big goal, LCA. LCA is the beneficiary. So I want us to focus on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. The momentum is very high, Joe. I'm not just interrupting you because I want to, but somebody is supporting you. So will you please display Sunday George's comment on the momentum? What he said. Sunday George
is the chair.
Sunday Joy says the momentum is very, very high here. So the momentum is high in Philadelphia. Quite understandable.
Yes.
But here is my question, Sis Maria, and I'm openly accusing you, Dr. Anderson, and Joe, for not sending me any formal communication regarding the pending convention. I don't know why that's the case.
We apologize.
We apologize.
We apologize, but
to you.
we leave it with Will is the communication person. So
We
that Will is
apologize.
and please
but
also
don't worry. I will make sure you
Yeah, we
are here.
apologize.
please also send my own raffle ticket, Sis Maria. Please send
Yes, sir.
me
Yes,
a
sir.
raffle
I'll be
ticket.
glad to. I'll be glad to.
Yeah, it is an honor. It is an honor for all of us to contribute to this endeavor. And I also want to say that we on the East Coast, we are attractive people. So the convention coming to the East Coast, is not a surprise, especially to Philadelphia. So we will try, in fact, to influence ALLIA to make a decision for Philadelphia to be the official home of the ALLIA convention.
No, but I mean,
Tell Sonny George that.
I mean,
Joe, I know you will oppose that, Joe.
No. On the record, it is. ALLIA is the home state for. I mean, Philadelphia is the home state for ALLIA, and the Minnesota is. So you are absolutely right.
I was just saying that without any idea,
It
is. Philadelphia is the home state for ALLIA.
Okay, wonderful. That's good. And then we'll look at the schedule and see if it's something we'd love to be a part of as usual.
Yes.
And if there's any role that we can play as we've always done, let us know.
You do have a role. Just so you know, you do have a role.
So that we are able
to. You already got one.
Already got a role.
Thank you. We will go to Abel. We're not going to keep you beyond 2:30. You've been here for long. Very gracious to all of us and to our audience. Abel, we would like for Abel to make some comments here or ask a question.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. I think I just want to appreciate the folks in studio tonight. I came here a little bit late, but I'm gradually getting to kind of get a concept of the discussions that got to do with the Lutheran universities and then the upcoming ALLIA conference in Philip. But I think from what I've heard so far, these are very beautiful discussions. So I just want to say thank you very much for brilliant deliberations. Somebody spoke about financial sustainability, which is very key this time in our church. And I think ALLIA is indeed a savior for at this movement. Inviting each other to get the US and begin to talk to people, that would be a very brilliant one. Somebody was saying we never had it in the absolutely we never had it in the past, but I think we are now on the right footing and on the ground and running with this, and there's turning back. So Joe, Willie, and Jerry, thank you guys for the beautiful ways you guys are doing, and then we just keep this moving. Let us keep the momentum moving.
Thank you so much. Abel. Thank you so much, Abel. I hope you enjoy Addis Ababa. I was in Addis Ababa for 2 weeks for international idea training at the Hilton, and I really enjoy it. They are friendly people. So have a good time out there. And I'd like to say to Sis Maria, Dr. Anderson, and Joe, it really has been a pleasure having you sit with us. We have 2 minutes to go, so we will apportion the time. We will give Dr. Anderson 30 seconds, Joe 30 seconds, and Sis Maria 30 seconds to make your closing statements, and then we will officially close. So Dr. Anderson, you can go first. Sis Maria will be last.
So thank you. I want to thank all of you tonight for again inviting us. My hope is that those of our Lutheran brothers and sisters across the globe who are listening to us will see a reason to get involved. Whatever way you can get involved into the church. I must remind you, make no mistake, the church belongs to all of us. And it is our responsibility to transform the church to what it needs to be. No one person has control over the church, but all of us. And for all of us for the church to be changed, it means all of us should be involved. So our presence here today is a beginning step for some of us, but a further step for some of you. And so I want to encourage anyone who is involved in doing something that can bring a change to the church to seek you guys' help. Come on this platform and let other people understand what is there to be done, because we have more to be done for the church in Liberia. So thank you, and I bless God for all of you guys who are spending your time without pay doing what you do. Let God bless you. Thank you.
I was clapping for you, Dr. Anderson. Thank you so much for the acknowledgement of the work that we do here. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I would just add to send out many thanks to you guys. This network is very important. It's very educational and informative. And I just want to say to all of our Lutherans in Liberia and other places that, you know, this whole thing is all about us, Lutherans. And let us work together. We know what having post-war Liberia is. Our LCS is going through a lot of struggle time. No doubt about that. So those are all that have opportunity in other countries. Let us utilize that and help LCA back home. So, but we can't do that by ourselves. We have to work together like a team together. So I just ask that we all, you know, put our hands together and support LCA in Liberia. LCA, as I always say, and LCA is the beneficiary. That's how I describe LCA. So as a beneficiary, we have to give that support, but collectively, it is possible. Nothing is impossible once we work together. And thanks to all of those who listen today. And I just say, God bless you. And Woody and the team, I say, this is a great network. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
And finally, I just like to say thank you to all of you for having us come on today to talk about the LUL. The LUL is something that's dear to my heart, and I'm sure all of us here would like to see this vision actualized. So I just like to thank you for having us. I look forward to seeing you in Philadelphia. All of you, please come and support us. Please help us raise $10,000 for the LUL project, and to be sure that we do things the way we think will benefit the people in Liberia. Again, thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Right. Thank you. And before I get parting comments from our colleagues, Willie and Abel, I don't know if Jerry is still on the phone. I just want to say that we are alerting you a spot exclusively to discuss your convention as a way of keeping the momentum. Come, and everything will be strictly on the convention. You come here to discuss every bit and pieces of your convention. So we will be giving you a spot between now to the convention week. Pick a Sunday and let us know as early as possible. We will give you that spot. Whether we work that out with you, he will let us know. And then we'll have you back on here. You will decide who to come on here to talk about your convention. You will do more of the talking. We will just maybe ask few questions, but it's for providing information to the public about your convention and talking more about raising the funds, because it's quite important. I hope you appreciate that slot that we have for you. Willie?
The ambassador is still here.
Yeah, the ambassador is here. Okay, Jerry, we can take parting comment from you, Jerry.
Thank you so much, Joe. I want to bless God for Dr. Anderson, Madam Kape, and Brother Joe also for taking up your time and leaving your busy schedule to come and share our platform. The Lutheran Connection team, so happy to have you and all that you do for the Lutheran Church in Liberia. You will only get your blessing and your reward from the Almighty. We want to say thank you so much for your appearance, and I concur with Joe that once the time is coming nearer for the convention, please liaise with Willie so that we can give you an exclusive spot to just showcase your convention and everything about the ALLIA convention, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you from my end. Sorry for the technical glitches, but I hope it will get better next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Willie?
Thank you, Ambassador. And I will end in an unusual way. I would want to say thanks to my Lutheran Connections team for affording us the opportunity, ALLIA, to make some clarification and provide information on the ALLIA project, and also to speak on the upcoming convention. The convention is going to be taking place, like the chairperson said on the program planning, it's going to be taking place in Philadelphia. And we want to say thank you to all of our viewers. Brother Sonny George, we want to say thank you for the support. He's the one chairing the coming convention. Brother Abel Lawali, I know you just joining in. You just got in Ethiopia. I stopped there briefly. I did not spend 3 weeks, but guess what? I tasted a samosa. So I encourage you to participate in a samosa and get a good, Ethiopia experience. Thank you all very much.
Okay, folks, there you have it. Thank you for watching and following this edition of my Lutheran Connections TV discussion. It's going to be another exciting round of discussion come Sunday. Stay tuned. Always follow our information in my Lutheran Connection chat room and on Facebook. Generally, visit our page as well. We always provide updates. Today, we were blessed to have the ALLIA team here. It was an impressive discussion about the Lutheran University establishment, their role, their support, and contribution. We're going to have them back here exclusively to talk about their convention on the Sunday that they are going to pick. It's up to them. But thanks for being with us. And until we see you again, bye-bye from my